Hey guys, it is me, Jacqueline, for today's video. I have the Unpopular Opinions book tag, and I actually have already done this tag. I did it about a year ago, but when I was watching myself answering these questions, I noticed that I was actually answering them sort of differently than what I was saying in the video, so I thought since I had some different answers for these questions, I would just like to redo this tag and refilm it because I did enjoy this tag. I think it's nice to sort of talk about opinions or talk about different things that I don't get to mention a lot on my channel. I'm not trying to be mean in any way, shape, or form, but sometimes it's nice to sort of not only talk about the books you enjoy, but certain books that you didn't really enjoy and why you didn't enjoy them. So I'm not trying to be mean. If you like any of these books I mention, just know that sometimes books aren't for everyone, and that's sort of the beauty of it, that you can sort of find your own special book out there. So let's stop rambling and let's get on to the tag. If you are wondering, I will leave all the questions down below along with the original creator of this tag. Question number 1 is a popular book or series that you didn't like. I'm going to go with one of my most anticipated book releases for this year, and that book was Passenger by Alexander Bracken. This book came out in January of this year, and I was so ecstatic to read this book. I actually did have a physical copy. I have given it away prior to this video. So I have to say that I was anticipating this book so much. I love Alexander Bracken's Darkest Minds trilogy. It's one of my favorite dystopian trilogies, and I was just really excited for this concept. It is a time traveling concept. It features pirates, everything like that. But I felt that it fell very flat. I tried 3 separate times to read this book and pick it up, and the first 2 attempts I just could not get past like page 20. It was so hard for me to get into this book, but when I finally sort of pushed my way through and got into it, I just found that I wasn't enjoying myself, and I found that certain things were okay. There were certain things that I didn't like our main character, but overall my reading experience wasn't that enjoyable, and I felt that I was sort of forcing myself to read the book, and I actually think overall I gave the book a 2 out of 5 stars. So I do have a review for this book up on my channel if you want to know more of my thoughts about it. Question number 2 is a popular book or series that you love but a lot of other people don't like, and I'm going to go with The Star Touch Queen by Roshani Chokshi. If you haven't seen my book review, you might not know how much I truly love this book. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and it is honestly one of my favorite books of this year. It is a YA fantasy mythology book, and it's actually the author's debut novel. It came out in April, and truly I was just so impressed by every aspect of this novel that I couldn't not give it a 5 out of 5 stars. But as I got to read this book before the release date, I got a finished copy, like I want to say 3 weeks before it was published, and I just fell in love with it. And then as I saw more and more people start reviewing it when it came out, I saw a lot of people talk about the fact they felt it was so overhyped, and I could totally see that because prior to this book being published, there was only really 5 or 4 star ratings. I do have to say, the hype can be totally real. For me personally, I love this book. I think it's so beautiful. If you want to know more about what this book is about, I will leave that review on the screen as well as down below. Question number 3 is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you did not want them to end up with, or an OTP that you don't like. If you haven't seen my first video, I'm going to say sort of a similar response because my answer is very much the same. All people I've ever shipped, so let's say all my OTPs, have stayed together, and I am just so lucky, not just lucky, I'm blessed, and I don't know how I feel about that because I know that my streak will end and then I will be devastated. But so far, every couple I've ever shipped has ended up together, which is so amazing. Any love triangles, love hexagons, anything like that, they have stayed together, and it makes me so happy. So when it comes to an OTP that I don't like, I don't really have one besides the one couple that I mentioned in the first Unpopular Opinions book tag, which is from A Court in Thorns and Roses. It's a main couple in that book. I'm not going to say who, but yeah, I did not like those 2 characters together, and I was sort of on the same track and same page because my OTP is very much featured in the second book part of that series. So I don't know, I don't really have a definite answer for this, so I'm sorry that I just sort of rambled for it. I hope you guys don't mind that. Question number 4 is a popular book genre that you hardly reach for. So in my first video, I talked about the fact I don't really read nonfictions. If I want to go further in depth with fiction in general, what genre that I don't really read in fiction, I'm gonna have to go with like horror. I don't really read a lot of horror or scary books or anything like that, thrillers. I don't know why. I don't think I do it on purpose, but I feel like I'm sort of comfortable in a fantasy contemporary genre that sometimes it's hard for me to branch out and reach for different genres. So maybe I should start to pick up more horror thriller books. I mean, I should have probably in October since that was like Halloween and I love Halloween. If you guys have any horror thriller books that you would definitely recommend to me, definitely leave them down below because I never read that genre and that's so sad. Question number 5 is a popular or beloved character that you do not like, and I actually said the same answer in my first Unpopular Opinions book tag. I'm sorry about that. I just can't really think right now of another character that I don't like or didn't like, and I'm going to say Alec from the Mortal Instruments series. When I first started reading this series, I did not like Alec. Now that I have completely finished the entire series, I do very much like Alec's character. I love his character. I love all the characters in the Mortal Instruments series. But I felt like when we were first reading or first starting off this series, in the first 2 books I'm thinking of specifically, I just did not like his character. He sort of rubbed me the wrong way. If you've read this series, you can't help but love Alec. Yes, he does stupid things in this series and I'm just like, why did you do that, Alec? But you can't help but love him. Question number 6 is a popular author that you can't seem to get into. For this, I'm going to go with Cinda Williams Chima. This author has so many different books and series out. I currently am holding the first book in the Seven Realms series, which has been sitting on my bookshelf for years. I have yet to pick up a book by this author and I have no idea why. I've heard amazing things specifically about the Seven Realms series, but about their work overall, and I just need to start this series and get into this author's work because yet again, they have so many different books and series out there that I've heard are amazing. So I gotta change that very soon. Question number 7 is a popular book trope that you are tired of seeing. I don't really know if this is technically a book trope, but I have definitely seen this in so many books and I think it is so weird, and it's the fact, this is more specifically I'm talking about like new adult romance novels, but it's the fact that the main character's like love interest is like this billionaire. They always own some huge corporation or company and they always are so rich, and I don't understand why so many new adult books I'm specifically thinking of are like that. I think it's so weird and it's crazy how many new adult books there are like that. I have read a ton where the love interest is not like that, but I have read also a ton where the love interest is a billionaire. I just noticed it. I don't know if it's exactly a trope, but I did want to mention it. Question number 8 is a popular series that you have no interest in reading. When it came to the first Unpopular Opinions tag I sort of said a similar response, and that is I never want to say I won't ever read a book because you don't very much know. I might not want to read a book right now during this time of my life, but later on in the future I might want to pick it up. So the book that, or the series I should say, I don't really want to read right now in my life is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. I know so many people do love that series, but for some reason I'm not compelled to read it. I think because when it first started to come out, so many reviews came out at the fact the actual concept of the book was like combining a bunch of different popular books into one book, and so it sort of seemed unoriginal, and that sort of got me to stray away from the series. as the second book has come out and I think the third book is coming out, more and more people have been telling me to pick up this series and the first book, Red Queens, but I just can't. I don't know why. I just don't really have an interest in it right now in my life. Maybe when the series is completely finished and I hear how people think about the series overall, I might pick it up later on, but right now I'm not really interested in reading it anytime soon. And then the final question we have is question number 9, and it says, the saying goes the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation do you prefer more than the book? So I don't really think I have an answer for this question. I remember in the first Unpopular Opinions book tag I said Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, and that's because I personally did not like the last book a part of this trilogy as much as the other 2 books a part of the trilogy, and so when the movies came out, I actually did enjoy the movies over the last book. But I haven't read Mockingjay, the actual book, in so long, so it's sort of hard for me to say that because when I did read it, it was the first time I ever read it. So maybe it was just timing or anything like that. So I definitely do want to reread it and see how exactly does it compare to the movies. Regardless, I do know there have been so many book to movie adaptations when it comes to movies or TV shows that we've gotten this year. For example, the Mortal Instruments series have been turned into a TV show, which personally I do prefer the books over the TV show. I do know it's different. You can't really compare it too much, but I just do prefer the books more than the TV show. When it comes to certain movies that have come out, a lot of the time it's either I've seen the movie but haven't read the book, or I've read the book but haven't seen the movie. So I'm trying to think. Fifth Wave, the movie came out this year and I've read the book and I absolutely love it, but I've yet to see the movie, so I don't really know how I feel about it. It is so hard for me to pick an answer for this. I might still just go with Mockingjay just because I don't have an answer, and I'm sorry that I just rambled instead of giving a definite answer. That just describes me. So that was the Unpopular Opinions book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know down below in the comment section what you thought of it, or let me know what your answers would be in regards to these questions. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!